What's up guys, Nax Tech here, and this is going to be my Nexus 10 benchmarking video. So I'm just going to go ahead and get straight into this. I'm going to run Quadrant first. I'm not going to bother turning this round even though it turns. Because you can see it's just powering through the CPU here. Now, as this is going on, I'm just going to talk to you a little bit. One thing to note with Quadrant anyway is it's not the best benchmark, but it's a good kind of guide. Saying that, it's not optimized for Android 4.2, so we don't know if it plays nice with it. Secondly, you have to remember that this tablet is running at a ridiculous resolution. It's running at 2560 by 1600. So, that's a hell of a lot more pixels to push around when doing these benchmarks. And that is going to take a toll. Even though it's a next-gen CPU and GPU, it will take a toll on it. So, as you can see there, that Planet test is getting 65, 59, 57, 59, pretty much frame capped. This DNA strand is getting 36, 37, and the results. Okay, I am going to turn this bit around, otherwise it's pointless. So, whoops. Your device, if you can see that there, is top of the list, 4684. So not stupidly high or anything special really. I mean, if you're going to believe this, it says the HTC One X CPU is better. That's a Tegra 3 CPU, and it's not. It does a lot better in memory than anything available, and I/O is pretty standard, and the 3D score is quite good. The 2D score is really low because I haven't enabled it in the developer settings. I haven't forced GPU rendering. Like I said, that's a pretty average, if quite a low Quadrant score from what you'd expect, but these are just benchmarks. They don't mean that much, and as I've said before, this is the fastest and smoothest Android device I've ever used. So, okay, let me just turn this back around. Next up, we've got, let's go ahead and use the Antutu one. And we'll just go ahead and hit 10. 10? Test. Start. Alright, this one does take a while, so I am just going to kind of skip to the end on it. So I'll see you at the results. And it's just finished up, guys. What I can tell you about the results in the test is the graphical tests were all locked on about 59 frames per second, so it's probably hitting a frame cap. But anyway, here's the results. So it comes behind, you can see it here scoring 9,158. It comes behind the Galaxy Note 2, the HTC One X Plus, the Galaxy S3, and the Asus Transformer Prime. Now this is really interesting and just goes to show that some of these benchmarks really don't mean anything. I have the Transformer Prime, and I can tell you this device is so superior in terms of gaming, performance, smoothness, speed. It's just everything, it beats it in everything. But there you go, in terms of benchmarks, it's come 5th in the list. So take that as you will, these are just synthetic benchmarks. Moving on, I'll have to do this again. Moving on to Valermo. I'm going to go ahead and do the metal. I have actually done these before, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit up the metal test, which tests just the CPU's raw performance. Valermo in general is a benchmark that tests the overall user experience, so the smoothness and all that sort of stuff. So let's see how it performs in this one. You can see it's just getting through these tests very quickly. And we're done there, and let's go ahead and hit yes on the results. 1,154. Which, if we look in the list here, is spectacularly above everything else. The HTC One X underneath scores 613, as you can see there. This scores 1154. This smashes every other device on this list, and that is including the Galaxy S3 US and international, and the Samsung Galaxy Nexus on 4.1.1. So, I mean, in terms of this benchmark, it absolutely smashes it. Now, let's go ahead and run the HTML5 test, which tests stuff like browser performance and overall user experience. So this should be quite a good benchmark to test. Again, this test is quite long, so I'm going to go ahead and skip to the end. And we're finally done, guys, and it's got a score of 1831. So let's see how that stacks up against the rest of the competition. And here we go, here's the graph, and again you can see it is topping the Valermo benchmarks, which is the benchmark that shows you user experience. The next one is the HTC One X US version that scores 1625. This device scores 1831. So a fantastic score in both the CPU and both the HTML5, which suggests why it's so good in its browser performance, and it is, and its just overall performance is fantastic. So 10 out of 10 for Valermo there. So yeah, guys, the benchmarks could be down to both the not being optimized for the new Android version and just the fact that, you know, the resolution on this screen is so high that it just has to push that many more pixels, which is going to have an effect on the performance. But I can tell you now, from day to day, you don't notice any performance drop due to the resolution. It just looks great, it performs great. So yeah. So take what you will from these benchmarks. It performs the best in Valermo, which is a benchmark that shows general user experience. It doesn't perform so well in Quadrant or Antutu, but you don't know if they've been updated yet for Android 4.2. What I can tell you is benchmarks really are starting to mean nothing. I mean, this is the fastest device I've had my hands on, and it's just lightning speeds. I haven't got it to lag yet. Its multitasking is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, these are the benchmarks. Take from them what you will.